Hey guys, this is John from US Dash Camera. Today got a review on the new Autovox V5 Pro. Now, as you can see here, this is a mirror-based dash camera, but it also includes a rear camera that can act as a reversing camera and also a rear dash camera. So it did just come in this pretty discreet box, so not showing a whole unboxing or anything. I already did install it in my car and tested it, and I've already removed it so I can show you guys everything that comes with it, because this camera is pretty complex for the installation. If you haven't installed electrical stuff in your car, you might want to look at getting this professionally done, because like I said, there's a lot to it. So what I like about this is it does replace your entire mirror. As you can see, it's going to connect onto your windshield. Now, there's different types of connectors for different cars, so it does come with several different adapters. This is just a different adapter for the rear camera. If you want to install it behind your license plate on the back, this will stick behind it. I installed it in my car though, on the rear window. But anyways, back to this. Luckily, my car's windshield connector was the same, so all I had to do was pull the old one off. It did involve using a flathead screwdriver to get under there and flip a little tab to get it out, but then when you put this one on, there's just a screw, so you tighten that down and keeps it tight locked down onto your window. Now, the first thing I'm going to point out that I did not like is the camera is on the right side. So in the US and many countries, the driver's on the left side of the car, and typically mirror dash cameras have the lens here. Now I asked them why it's on the right side. To me, this seems like this is one from the UK or Australia that they're just sending out everywhere, and they said their explanation was that that no one else has done them on the rear or on the right side, and they wanted to do it on the right side for some reason and do it well. But as you can see from some of this footage, since it's on the right side, it's so much further back from the windshield as opposed to if it was over here. So you're going to get a lot more dashboard, and you're going to get other stuff in your view that you might not want, like the black dots or the actual mount. So I wasn't a fan of that, and their explanation didn't really make sense to me. To me, it just seems like this model was supposed to be released in countries where the driver's on the opposite side and the mirror would be aiming that way. So now the rear camera, it is waterproof, so if you want to put it outside, you can. I just installed it on my back window, sort of like any other rear camera. Works for me, especially because my car's got the little half window in the back, so the camera is way in the back of the car, so it's got a pretty good view. So connecting this, as I said, is going to be pretty complex. You can see here it's got a pin connector, same with that one. So what you're going to get in the box, for one, is the main hardwiring kit. This one says B+, this one says ACC, and then the black one is going to be a ground. Now, showing the installation in my car is nearly impossible because the fuse box is so low on my car, I can hardly even get down there myself to install it, let alone with a camera down there. So yeah, I apologize I can't show the installation, but what you're going to do is connect these to your fuse box. What's nice is it did come with these connectors, so both the red and yellow connector, or red and yellow line, will connect into these, and then you'll need to look up some fuses in your car. The B+ cable will go to a fuse that is always on, and then the ACC cable will go to a fuse that is only on when your car is on. And that's important for the parking mode of this camera. We'll talk about the parking mode a little bit later. So then the black cable you have to attach to a ground somewhere. metal part that connects to the body or frame of the car. There's also a connector for the GPS, which seems to work just fine. They do recommend you install this on your dashboard, so this part is facing up, and you'll see that's where you connect the front camera. Now for the rear camera, there's going to be another cable. This is going to have the side that connects to the front or the rear camera, and then it's also going to have one, or one of these connects to the front and one connects to the rear. But then there's also this red cable. Now this is another part of the installation that's going to be a little more difficult unless you've had experience. You do need to tap into your rear reversing lights. So when you put it into reverse, then it knows you're in reverse, and it can be set to switch on your rear camera, and it can also show the reversing lines. So what I do like about this camera though is the screen is pretty nice. It is pretty vivid and it's big. The menu is pretty easy to use. The menu will give you several different options, like if you want to have the screen on all the time, or if you only want it on when you're in reverse. There's different settings like that, and it's very easy to use. But one thing I wanted to point out is the parking mode isn't anything super special. It does know when your car is off, so it can switch to parking mode automatically, but it doesn't have buffered parking mode. So if it senses an impact, it wakes up and starts recording. And here in this footage you can see that it starts recording, but you don't see anything, and then I actually start driving away shortly after. What triggered the parking mode was me slamming my trunk door hard enough that it sensed an impact, but it didn't start recording until I was already out of the picture. So the parking mode, of course, is a nice feature to have, but I wouldn't depend on it, because in certain situations it might not even capture what you're looking for if the person or car drives away quick enough. So down here we have the input for the power, and then the micro SD card, which I believe it supports up to 64 gigabytes. So the rear camera cable actually connects to one of these cables. So it is really complex, and it's actually pretty tough to wire this all cleanly in your car. So that's why I keep saying get it professionally installed if you aren't confident in it. Let's take a look at the footage now though. I have to say this is a little disappointing. The video quality just doesn't seem up to par with a lot of other cameras these days. It looks pretty grainy, and the night footage doesn't fare much better. It's not terrible. A couple of years ago this would have been fine, but I think compared to a lot of other cameras these days, it is noticeably lesser quality. And this camera is $300, so it isn't cheap. Now, some people are going to wonder, who wants to pay $300 for this camera? Well, it's all about the form factor, and some people are going to want something like this. Personally, I wouldn't, because I think the mirror, when the mirror is off, it's actually not as good as a real mirror. And if you try to use the screen while it's on during the day, sometimes it's hard to see because you got to focus on the screen, and sometimes your eye might focus on the actual reflection. And then there's times at night where if the screen is on, even if it's blacked out, it is bright enough that it's hard to see in the reflection as well. So for me personally, I would rather just have a traditional dash camera, but I can see a market for these kind of cameras in certain cases. So people with vans or trucks with a limited view could use this. It could be useful for them, where they use this as a replacement for a mirror where they couldn't see out the back anyways, or maybe their van didn't even have a mirror. I've seen some vans where they have the place for where one would go because it's just a stock windshield, but then they just don't put the mirror on. So that would be nice, because then it gives them a view out the back. But I will say that when I was comparing the mirror versus the video actually makes things look further. It's really hard to tell the distance with the video, because of the wide angle lens of the rear camera, it makes things look small and far away, and then in the real mirror everything seems much closer. So I would really more recommend this for people that just don't have the view out the back, like I was mentioning, vans or trucks with toppers on them. So I forgot at the beginning of the video to give my full disclaimer. Autovox did send this unit out to me for review. I always try to give my most unbiased opinion and just what I feel about it. I have reviewed several of their products in the past, and in the past I typically really liked their products. This one I have mixed feelings about it. So would I recommend this camera? It's hard to say. If you are one of those people, like I mentioned, with a van or a truck with a topper with limited to no view out the back of your car, or don't even have a mirror, this would be a great option. But if you have a regular car or regular SUV, have a regular rear view mirror and can see out the back fine, then personally I would not recommend this. I think there's pros to it, but the cons outweigh the pros if you have a regular car. Just a regular dash camera and a rear view camera I think would be much better. And I know this does give the option for the rear view backup camera, and I think there's better options to do that. I think you're better off buying a separate dash camera with better video quality and then use some sort of alternative for installing a aftermarket backup camera. So that's my personal opinion on it. It's a niche product. It is what it is. It's going to be a godsend for some people, but I think for most people it's not the dash camera to look for. So I hope this video was helpful. If you like this video or my other video, I'd appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe. I'll provide links down in the description to where you can purchase this if you are interested. And as usual, drive safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.